Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got my overnight highs up here and my overnight lows down here. It was a very small overnight session, and then the volatility got, way faster. Let me zoom in here. So I'm going to zoom into the first part over here. Let me kind of make it a better scale. So we have the range here, the overnight range. We break out. Most breakouts fail, so when you get a breakout, price will attempt to fade back in. And so we had a first attempt to fade, second attempt to fade before the drop. Not surprising at all. I was trying to find a short here, but unfortunately I couldn't because we couldn't get anything below the EMA. Now, the reason I wanted something below the EMA is because this level, the overnight highs and lows, they are magnets. They do try to pull prices to them. And so when it was that bullish pushing up and then closing above the EMA, I just wanted something below the EMA because that was a bullish push up. This does act as a magnet, and the EMA does act as resistance. And so I just wanted something below the EMA, and the lower high wasn't, and then you got this to the tick failed second entry, which I would just view it as basically a lower high because it's a very small picture, but it's held above the EMA. And so considering that bullish push higher, we have the range right here, and it is a magnet. I decided not to take that because I was wanting something to get out at these lows, but then it just plummeted straight through out of nowhere. This happened very quickly. We push lower here, then we're not reaching the EMA, so we can't go along with it, and then we just rush back above the EMA, rush back below. It kind of starts forming this range right here. And then you can see like a first entry short, second entry short failure, but that's not a good reversal pattern. It's right into this resistance. It's just sideways. But we do push up here. Then we have this leg up here, and then Rudden got this with me here. And so, yeah, Rudden is just a member. And so we push up here, and then this entry was actually based on this second leg right here. So I waited for this bar to close right here because I didn't want to enter below the EMA because we did have a massive push down. Now, here's the thing. Whenever you have a very sharp push down, you'll often have symmetry. I wasn't betting on it making a full symmetry. I was simply wanting to reach the end of this measured move. But I waited for price to close above the EMA. You have this downtrend here, break, a couple attempts at a new low, closing, very high above the EMA. It's a very strong bullish bar. And then stop below the main swing, 1 to 2, perfect target for this measured move here just to complete it. And then it did not go further than that. And these measured moves really are important here. And then this trade right here, which I missed both of these trades because I was just distracted out of the room. I was kind of busy. But measured move right here, very important. Just like right here, it didn't quite reach it, but the entry would be only after it's clearly failing to reach it, sticking with this downtrend. So anyway here, so we push up, we plummet down, this channel doesn't hold, we break, we clearly have this first attempt at a new high, second attempt is a way to view it, and then we have this measured move in play. And so I was wanting to get something short right here because we pushed down. At first there was no way to get short with it, nothing's reaching the EMA anyway. We push higher, rush back above, higher low. That's not enough of a reason to go long. The downtrend is pretty clear at this point. We had the two legs up, and then it just plummeted straight back down, continuing with this bearish bias. And so I don't want to take that higher low. And then this short right here is above the EMA, and then it couldn't get below. Also as STT. Let me draw. Yeah, well, actually, it looks like it did close out of STT, but that's besides the point. It doesn't have good context, which is the main thing. So it's not off of any resistance either. So we push on lower here. So we have this first leg, break, second leg down, and then this measured move is not complete. So you can look to complete the measured move, but you rush straight above the EMA here, and then you don't get an entry down here, and then you get this lower high right here. And I really just view this as a lower high. I don't view it as a failed second entry, really, even though to the tick it is. I just see it as a lower high, and that's really just not good enough. You're entering very low. Compare this short to this short over here. You have a clear, big pullback. This right here is, you had that pullback, but then you're entering very low again, and it's getting choppy. So it's just not a very high probability setup. But we do push lower here. We don't quite reach that measured move yet, but we push back above the EMA. We have this, first leg up here, break, second leg up. I missed this it looks good. Once it closes back below the EMA, it's 2 clear legs up. You know, the entry is with the trend, with the bias. You have this measured move in play. It looks great to me, so I wish I got that. And then same thing with this right here. So we push lower. You know, we didn't reach that target until down here. But if you didn't get into this, then this trade right here looks good. So you have this push higher, clear 2 legs. There is some resistance here, but the bias is so strong. We're very down. We have this measured move right here in play, as well as this bigger measured move in play. But I just wanted to get out before this measured move right here, or I would want to get out before this measured move right here. And I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's extremely bearish. I mean, we just started plummeting down. So that looks good right there, but it's a shame. I was just distracted today. I couldn't focus, and I was kind of busy with dealing with other things, unfortunately. And then, so anyway, so this downtrend started forming, which I had it I started getting it at the time, and I was kind of looking for stuff off of it, but like I said, I was kind of distracted. We reached that measured move right here. You know, we kind of go a little bit choppy, trying to, you know, between this measured move resistance and the highs right here of this downtrend. But we break, we push down, we have this new low. It's not very significant. Clearly on a bigger picture, we have downtrend, break, new low right here. And then we go into a range, which is very typical. But anyway, so we have this break right here. It's not off of any resistance. You can't go short there. And then this long, I'm not going long with how bearish this is. We push. Oh, I'm looking out my window. There's a stray black cat. All right, anyway. So we push back above the EMA, and you know, we get this first leg, break, second leg. Of course, this resistance line isn't here at the time. I moved it up there later. But which at first this range was more like this. So I'm going to put this back right here for now. And so this, you can view this as breakout. Most breakouts fail. And uptrend, break, new high. I wanted like a lower high right here because, you know, you are entering pretty low right here. And well, that's the main reason is just such a bullish push higher, and then you barely close back below. This is really like one leg. And so you are entering low after one push higher. Notice how here you have 2 pushes higher, and then you have these 2 pushes higher here. That would just make me nervous to go short there because it's just really one push higher. I don't view that as, you know, 2 clear legs like right here or right here. And, you know, also like right here, even though you don't have 2 clear legs to the entry, you have downtrend break, 2 attempts at a new low. Here you got uptrend break, 1 attempt, and then it just plummets. So it could make a second attempt. I avoided it. We push lower here, which eventually I did start extending this range. But we push lower here. We start getting very choppy around the lows of this range. There's no clear entries in this or anything. And then we do eventually make this higher low, which I'm still not going long at this point right now. And we have this big push higher. And then let me extend this range really quick. So I started extending this range. It reacted well off this level right here, and then it reacted off of it again here. And so to me, I just thought I could fade this range. And we had this measured move in play. And on the site when I took this, I mentioned that it was a failed second entry. And I just want to make this clear. I wasn't counting from here like first entry long, second entry long, failure. That's not how I was counting that failed second entry. I was counting it as first entry long, second entry long, failure, to complete this measured move. So big picture. And I just simply wanted to complete the measured move. I didn't want to push it past that. 1-to-1 was the perfect target for this trade. And then we did push back higher here. And then we have this even bigger picture failed second entry, but I basically stopped trading right after this, so I didn't take this. I did not take this right here, but I do think that this looks pretty good right here. You see first entry long, second entry long, failure. Yes, you do have the 2 legs down here, which means that you would need to close below the EMA. But you do have this massive bearish bias. You have this very big measured move in play that you can expect prices to reach. So I think that this is a pretty good entry right here. But I did barely stop trading before then. I still came back and did a post at noon later, like around this area when price was down here, but I was basically done at this point. And so if you can get filled somewhere in here, put your stop up here, that looks good. That's a big picture failed second entry with the bias massively down. That looks great. So, but yeah, you would need it below the EMA. You do have 2 legs down, measured move met, and then it rushed back above. So you really need it to hold with the bias here. So anyway, we keep pushing down here, and once again, at this point, I was done trading. I just want to mention, and we push on down. We get very, very congestive. Then here you can see you have that first entry short, second entry short, but there's really no room because you would have to enter down here because you know with that bullish push higher, you got to wait for it to get below the EMA, and so if you look at this, the entry, you would have to push way below this resistance line. So yeah, that's just not a good thing. We push out. At this point, we reach that measured move. That pushes it down to that measured move right here. Now, I do want to mention this right here was a much shorter term trade. I want to talk about how I didn't mind price going through this resistance right here on this trade. And so you might say, why didn't you mind it on this trade? You have a big picture measured move right here as well, and that's because this is a bigger picture trade. So you have 2 big legs up. I didn't mind it going through this shorter term resistance to reach that, you know, bigger picture measured move. This is just it's a pretty small second entry, so I would not bet on it reaching this big picture measured move. I would want something a lot more clear than that, more big picture, something more like this with bigger legs. It's just not ideal to enter into resistance like that. This is a much bigger picture entry, so I just want that to be clear. But then we push lower here. We're in this downtrend at this point. We can get off these highs. These lows are fitting, and then we have a tiny overshoot, which could lead to a break, but the channel does hold. It's getting pretty choppy in this move up here. We have these couple legs up. You don't want to enter into this trend line right here. You would just want to wait on something to break out and pull back, get an entry outside of that trend line right here. But you don't get that. It just keeps on going lower. Excuse me. We get these shallow corrections, and it's just, you know, barely tapping the EMA. You don't want to enter that low. You're basically entering into brand new lows at that point. You know, you've already reached that measured move, so you know there's really no good shorts in here. They're very shallow pullbacks. But then we do push back above the EMA. We have this higher low. It's just I mean, I'm certainly not going long at this point, even though we're past the measured move. The measured move did not hold there. It kept going, which is a sign of bearishness. And so, a very bearishness. So I'm not taking that higher low. I'm not taking this to the tick failed second entry. We have these couple legs up here. We don't quite reach it, which is not surprising. I mean, we're in a massive downtrend here. I would not be taking any longs. We rush below the EMA, and then we go into a range. So that's really it for the day. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope I was clear on everything. Sometimes I just speed through things, which I don't mean to do, but sometimes I forget how. Never mind. But anyway, so that's going to do it for the day, and thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.